Welcome to another Thomas Talk. Thank you guys so much for 1,200 subs. In today's movie, we're doing Thomas and Friends, King of the Railway.
Thomas and Percy are breaking stuff around the docks when they open a crate with a robot. I mean, a suit of armor, but would need that one. So
Long ago, the island of Sodor was ruled by kings. The greatest king was King Godred. He was loved. He was a loved king and defender of Sodor with his knights in armor. King Godred wore a golden crown, but thieves stole the crown. They were eventually caught, but the crown was hidden, never to be found.
Thomas and his friends were all getting washdowns for a special guest when the Fat Controller said it was for the Earl of Sodor. They all went to Knapford to greet him and set up a party. When he arrived, he thought the party wasn't for him, so he left. Classic. The next morning, Sir Tom Hat sent Thomas to pull heavy goods train to the Earl's estate.
When he got there, he met Millie, a narrowgauge engine who works for the Earl. The Earl says he needs King Godred's clown to complete his plan, and Thomas wants to know what this plan is. That night, Spencer comes to the island and takes Edward's shed, for he is working for the Earl.
The next day, everyone makes fun of Spencer working normal jobs around Sodor, but wonder why the Earl wants things like rocks. Alyssa Gordon and Spencer have lots of races throughout the movie. Later, Thomas, Percy, and James are all told to pull a heavy goods train to the Earl's estate. So they do so in a song, because why not? Mm-hmm. When they arrive, they meet Jack, and then they split their goods train into 3 parts.
One crate was supposed to get a victor and not the Earl, so Thomas, Percy, and James take it. When they arrive, they lift a crate to reveal an old engine named Stephen. But they have to leave to work and left Victor to work on Stephen. That night, they told the other engines all about Stephen. Then, that morning, Emily took Henry to the steamworks to be fixed, while the others didn't have a reason, but still wanted to see Stephen. Then they all left because they got in trouble with Fat Controller for, not working.
Yeah. Later, when Stephen is restored, Thomas was going to leave when he saw Stephen was sad. So he told him the Earl has a special job for him. Later, while Thomas, Percy, and James leave, Stephen leaves to find a special job. Thomas, Percy, and James are helping add a roof to the Ulfstead Castle, while Stephen stops the express, making Gordon lose a race.
Stephen then heads to the docks, but can't be useful there and heads to the Blue Mountain Quarry. There, Stephen tries to pull wagons, but could barely pull one. He then leaves to find the mine, where he originally worked. Meanwhile, the Earl says he is rebuilding Ulfsted's castle to the public. Like, that was a surprise. Like, what else was he doing with the giant abandoned castle and working on it? Then James leaves for Thomas and Percy to be the main part of the plot.
Thomas and Percy now have to pull the goods train without James. Plot. Mm-hmm. Stephen finds the mine and sees it's abandoned. Thomas and Percy are about to go down a hill when they realize no one is in front of the train. They lose the cars and they shove Stephen into the old mine and rocks fall on the entrance. Good timing. Thomas and Percy just back out and don't know Stephen is trapped in the mine.
Later, they find out Stephen is missing and go looking for him. That night, they told the Fat Controller that Stephen is missing. But in the mine, Stephen finds King Godred's crown. The next morning, all of Sodor is going looking for Stephen when Thomas sees his funnel by the old mine.
Thomas gets Jack and he unblocks the mine for Thomas to enter. Thomas finds Stephen and he pulls him out of the mine, but the old bridge to get the mine breaks and Thomas just saves Stephen from the collapsing bridge.
Later, Stephen finds his job as being a tour guide of the castle, and King Godred's crown is returned to the castle. A big race goes on for the celebration of the castle restored, and Thomas has made a new friend.
Alright, so this plot, it's very hard to follow when you're younger.
It felt like there's 4 plots happening at once, and it got very confusing.
And yeah, it's a very confusing plot, but it's not
all bad.
That bad. It's not the best. They can do better.
which they kind of did with Tale of the Brave.
Yeah, Tale of the Brave, phenomenal, phenomenal. But like, yeah,
Connor and Caitlin is another thing. They were, if you didn't notice in our thing, were not mentioned. They were just thrown in here as a cash grab.
yeah.
When they really could have done something better in the
And
plot.
they're wonderfully designed engines too. I wish they kind of got more.
Also, Gordon and Spencer, we mentioned it, but they raced like 5 times, just breaking up the plot throughout the movie.
It was
And it-
filler.
It didn't
It
really,
really was.
it didn't do anything.
They should have done like what was the movie? Here of the Railway. Is that what it's-
Yeah.
Yeah. That man, I'm spacing. Like in the beginning, it shows them racing.
Yeah.
They should have just done one race. You get the idea then.
Yeah.
You get the rivalry from that.
hmm
The cousin
Which
rivalry.
can help, which helps out later in the movie. But there is a lot of cool things like the rocket using that, like the first steam engine. Kind of weird Sodor bottom, but you know.
And I don't know about him being trapped in a mine.
Also,
I think they could
the
have done
whole
something
Earl
with it.
thing and Millie is kind of like, so Millie's just been on Sodor for like hundreds of years
Yeah.
without anyone knowing. Like the Earl, I get it makes sense. Some guy that bought
Some
Van-
rich guy.
yeah, some rich guy that just buys a old castle to restore it. That made sense, but he really left a steam engine there and just left for like
Right.
ever.
Yeah. I never got the point of the castle, though. Like, why is that even relevant in much of the movie? And I think that goes back to the, 4 different plots going on,
Mhm.
is it's hard to, it's like, why is this even here? Isn't the main story with Steven?
Well, Steven wasn't even in the first half of the movie. That's when
Yeah.
it was about the castle. Then it switched to Steven and then tried to bring all the old plots.
And it didn't really work.
No, they should have wrapped up the castle plot, went into Steven.
They really should have just done a movie about Steven. Because no one really cares about the castle that much.
I mean, the castle's there just because that was the cash grab.
Right. Well, the whole movie's a cash grab. Steven's a
Except
no,
we also
Steven's
want
a
to
cash
point out that these were brand new writers. This is when Mattel just bought it.
grab.
So this was a brand new team.
For a brand new team, this is great.
Yeah, because
It's not like some.
because this team would later go
Season
on to
13.
write literally next year. They would write Tale of the Brave.
Tale of the Brave. Again, phenomenal.
So yeah. But this movie has some flaws here and there. Here-
Yeah, but it's like a middle of the pack thing. You know what we should do?
Hmm.
We should do another movie rating
movie.
ranking.
We should rank all the movies.
Yeah. So guys, after this comes out, there's probably gonna be a ranking thing.
And at least the next year.
Yeah, eventually.
So
Hope you guys enjoyed this movie review on Thomas and Friends, King of the Railway.
link to the movie, baby, if YouTube hasn't blocked it, and our Discord server down below.
Thanks again for 1,200 subscribers, or 1,200. However you want to say it, I'm grateful. And if you guys like this video and want to see more like it, then
Like, comment, and subscribe.